Welcome back to the ABL review for Season 18, Week 4 in the West Division. Got a whole bunch of games to jump into. I just finished re-recording stuff for the East, and I just want to say thanks, guys, for not having any forfeits so far. I know I've been kind of harsh on our division because we don't have the most exciting, closely contested matches. But hey, we got all the matches. We've got one more match than them. Let's keep that going. Okay, let's hop into my match first. Full disclosure, I'm a little bit salty about this still. I'm going to try to keep the salinity levels down, though, okay? And just try to give you a fair and balanced analysis. So, let's hop into it. I'm going to put this on fast. Great lead for me there. I was just excited to see him go into Garganackle because this is Covert Cloak Screamtail. So, I don't care about this. I'll just keep Dazzling Gleaming him all day, wait until he goes for something other. I'm hoping to lock him into Curse or Stealth Rock or something. And he showed off his moveset there. I'm not afraid of it at all. He recovered there. I tried to Encore him into recover just so we could keep doing that. Broccolore comes in, really poses no threat to Vaporeon. He went for Fire Spin. I'm not sure what on my team he would have been trying to trap, because nothing that switches into Croccolore, everything that switches into Croccolore beats Croccolore. So I don't really know what the Fire Spin was about, but it was a good opportunity for me to just throw off a Surf, get a little bit of chip damage, and this Florges is kind of an issue for my team. So the plan going into it was, Lucario with just a little bit of chip is guaranteed to KO. I'm Jolly Expert Belt, so honestly, even I think because he gets leftovers back, right? In this range, guaranteed to KO. I think it does 88 min. 88 to, I think it's 88 to 100. So, guaranteed KO from this range. But I just need to find an opportunity to get it in here. Screamtail's gonna come in, he recovers a little bit, and then goes into Garganackle. Again, I don't care if Garganackle's here. Which also, it's weird that he saw Encore and then tried to set up in front of me. He's gonna do that again, and he's gonna go back out into something else. I don't get that play. I'm just going to try to take advantage of that, get into Sandy Shock. It's going to Volt Switch out here. And bring in Screamtail again, just because I can do that safely. Do I try to Encore him here? I don't remember what I do. No, just throw up a Wish, so that way I can get something else in safely. Bramble Gas is going to come in. Rocks are going to go Wasted Wish, unfortunately. Those rocks are going away. Ruination, a lot of HP, obviously. But if he went for Ruination, that means he doesn't have Throat Chop. That's the most he can do to me. Tries to Whirlwind me. Wind Rider. Give me an attack boost. Isn't that fun? I like that a lot. That's a cool ability. Crocolore's going to come in. I throw the seeds off? Yeah, I just want to chip it a little bit. You got to try to get that Croccolore a little bit lower. I think I was going over my ways to kill Florges. This Roaring Moon is Terra Steel with Jaw Lock, Taunt, Dragon Dance, and Earthquake. So the plan was, eventually I'm going to get in Roaring Moon, it'll draw in the Florges, I'll Jaw Lock it, that way it can't leave, I'll Terra Steel so it can't hurt me, because have we seen its whole moveset yet? We can assume Protect and Moonblast at a minimum. Worst case scenario, he's Baton Pass and he can get out of there. But I can taunt that, so he can't, so he has to stay. That's the plan, okay? And then I can boost up, and even if he goes into Croccolore with a little bit of damage, and I know he's got to be specially defensive because he's afraid of, Volcarona, I'll still be able to Earthquake him for a guaranteed 2-hit KO. Especially because now he's burned his, he hasn't yet. We'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, it's coming here. So yeah, just going for an Earth Power, and that does pitiful damage to Ting-Lu. That is also a bit of a concern, but I do have ways to deal with the Ting-Lu. Like this, Bramble guy doesn't care. I can always spin away his rocks. He can't do much to me. But I'm getting the Rapid Spin crit's nice. Gonna keep this floor just a little bit low. That Moonblast does more than I wanted it to, right? It's a little bit disappointing, but you know what? I can safely go into Lucario here. Because I can get a little bit of HP back. He definitely can't KO me. He goes into Ting-Lu here. I think this is a good read by him, going for the, because the only reason, I knew I couldn't KO from full, he goes for the Terra Ground Earthquake, gets a crit. Does it matter? Not really. Yeah, but that means that it's going to be harder for me to KO that Ting-Lu. But now I know that Terra is off the table. Vaporeon's fully specially defensive, doesn't care about anything this Noivern can do. I can keep moving around here. So, get a little bit risky, bring in the Lucario, but I know I can live this. Now, at this point in time, this is the part that I'm salty about. I'm gonna try to keep it together, guys. Okay, so, we know the Calyx. This Florges is dead. Okay, this hold on, let me let it get its leftovers back. Still dead, okay? I'm guaranteed to KO at this range. I talked to him after the battle, and he's just like, oh, I was max Fizz Def. It's like, yeah, I know, that's what I calced. Jolly, Expert Belt, guaranteed to do, you know, at least 7, like, guaranteed to KO here. He hasn't shown Protect. I think maybe he protects. Should either protect or switch, so I considered Swords Dancing. But, I decided, you know what, whatever he goes into, I just want to get off damage. I want to, maybe he'll go into Crocalor, I want to get that damage off. If he goes into either Gallade or Noivern, I can follow it up with an Extreme Speed and probably KO one of them. Ting-Lu isn't going to take that much damage, so I want to get some chip on Ting-Lu. It's a bad move for him to stay in, because I have no other way to hit this super effective. But, just in case, I'm going to go ahead and click Meteor Mash. So I do, and he stays in, and he dodges it. And he KOs me. Now, granted, so, you know, some of you might be saying, like, this is a bad, I just realized I don't have it on the replay screen. Sorry, guys, that's embarrassing. Some of you are probably saying, you know, Meteor Mash, that'll happen. I just don't like that it's a bad play to leave in Florges, that he didn't know the calc, that he didn't know Florges died, he didn't even bother calcing. So I just don't like, I get frustrated when someone makes a bad play and gets rewarded with RNG. That's the thing that I'm salty about here. And then my next couple plays here get a little bit tilty because now I'm very worried about this Florges because I don't have a good way to KO this. So my hope is, and plus he just stayed in, he just risked his Florges for no goddamn reason. So my game now is I need to hope that he stays risky. To be fair, I telegraphed this too much. Went into Roaring Moon. He absolutely reads that there's no chance that he is going to, that I must have something to hit this Florges with. So this was an overplay on my part. He goes into Ting-Lu, I Jaw Lock, now I'm trapped, and I already Terra Steel. Probably shouldn't have done that, but I think, but the plan, otherwise he was going to Moonblast. This is my gambit here. This is the only way I could really come back in this battle. I get a crit on the Jaw Lock, that's nice. But it doesn't really matter, because he's just going to follow up. I'm just going to try to get as much damage off as I can. Go for the Earthquake there. I don't remember why I Earthquaked over Jaw Locked. I guess Jaw Lock would have done slightly more damage. Not important. Because he KO'd me there as a follow-up. Now, I can't win at this point. There's no way to kill Florges. I have nothing residual on my team. There's no way, like, basically I'd have to Rapid Spin, Power Whip. It would be my best way of KOing it, and Bramble Gas is too low to do that. So, just gonna go for a Leech Seed here. Yeah, I'm still trying to stay in it. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit, because like I said, I don't really have a winning play here. Just gonna try to Surf, oh no, okay. Made a double switch, good for me. That was nice. Thunderbolt, decent damage on the Crocalor, Volt switch out, because Earth Power was not a guaranteed KO at that range, because since he was Spadef. But good news is he stays low. The Florges comes in, and I think he shows Calm Mind here? Yeah. At this point in time, I need to, I missed the Leech Seed, which would have helped me kind of stay alive and chip this Florges down over time. Yeah, and then at this point, I arguably make a misplay. These rolls are doing 38, 37. I protect, get a little bit of leftovers back, I catch this Wish. Oh no, not leftovers, I'm Covert Cloak. Okay, so at this point, I have a Wish in the air, I'm at 39. I thought, okay, highest roll so far has been 38. I can just kind of stay in. I didn't want him to get a free Calm Mind. So I figured I'd Dazzling Gleam for a little bit of chip. I figured I'd live, I'd be okay. If he Calm Minded or Wished, then I could Encore him into that and at least force this out. He ends up getting a high roll there, and I faint. Could have protected, been nice and safe, because even if he did do either of those things that I had mentioned, then I could have Encored him the next turn. So that was unnecessarily risky on my part. But also, I needed chances at crits at this point in the game. But after that, again, I can't KO this Florges. I get the Leech Seed off just as like a last-ditch effort, so that way Vaporeon can kind of annoy this Florges long-term, but he also has the Giga Drain. He is recovering more with Giga Drain than he's losing from the Surf, but he switches out for no reason. I don't understand this. I think I throw off an Ice Beam. Now my hope is a Freeze, but he's thankfully just going to give me Crocalor. I said a couple of weeks ago, Dakota's not a closer, and I stand by that. Because now my hope is freezing stuff. I'm going to get up a Wish here to make sure that I can hopefully live. He switches out again for no apparent reason. Into Garganacl, obviously going for the Salt Cure to try to wear down the Vaporeon. Switch back here, catch the Ting-Lu. I feel like I'm playing okay in this late game here, but I have lost all hope because of the whole situation with missing the Meteor Mash. Pretty disappointing. Gets that KO there, and yeah, like I said, no way I can come back from this. I would have needed some sort of super crit or a bad misplay there by him. But yeah, that's a rough one. Hate to see it happen, but that pushes both Dakota and I to 2-2 on the season. Moving on to our next game, we got Mike taking on Chris. Chris coming off a couple of rough losses here after a win to open up the season. Got Hydreigon versus this. Also, I had been critical of Bellibolt earlier in the season. This is Bellibolt's game. Like, it's faster. It's probably faster. Could be faster potentially than Clawitzer. It's not going to take any damage from Talonflame. Not going to take any damage from Braviary. Not going to take a ton of damage from Luxray. This is a great matchup for Bellibolt. Also, after being able to live that Draco Meteor, that's already nice. Just able to stay healthy as the Iron Treads comes in. Armarouge, this is a crazy play too, because you know an Earthquake's coming out. So this is like play of the week, even though it wasn't super fruitful. This comes in on an Earthquake, weak armor boost, and then weakness policy boost. This guy's boosted to the moon. If Chris doesn't play this right, the game's over right here. So, start off, Clawitzer comes in on an Aurasphere, takes a pretty good amount of damage there, and then followed up with a Stored Power. Clawitzer's down. Even better Bellibolt matchup on him, right? So, Clawitzer's down. This is faster than everything on the team. It almost certainly has Aurasphere. Well, we know it has Aurasphere to hit Hydreigon. Aurasphere is going to KO Iron Treads. Luxray, Braviary, Talonflame all faint to a Stored Power. So, what is there to do? We bust. I think I might have even mentioned it last week that nobody should be you shouldn't expect Gale Wings Talonflame anymore, but it came in super clutch here, saved the game for Chris, so that's great. But this Bellibolt is going to be a little bit of a problem, especially after that big Muddy Water. That's a lot of damage on the Iron Treads. And that's a very safe switch in for him. Earthquake, obviously this is a very safe time to go into Corviknight here. Takes very little damage from the Volt Switch. Luxray comes out. I like this, but the problem is, and Chris is still a new player. I think the obvious switch would have been into Bellibolt or a Clodsire. There's no way this Corviknight's staying in, I think you should have gone for Facade here, because now you're burned. I think you'd probably two-hit KO this Clodsire. Follows up with a really bad play here, going for the Volt Switch. I don't know what he was thinking there. But now he's lost his way to deal with Corviknight, and yet another way to potentially deal with Bellibolt. Yeah, we go into the Braviary here. That's going to be able... it'll live a Freeze Dry if it goes for it, but yeah, you see how little damage these flying types are doing to this Belly Boy. If we're going to see another switch into Iron Treads, yep. And Mike reads that really well and goes for the Muddy Water. He tries to pull a double here. Yeah, and this is a successful double. I like this a lot. Goes for, I'm guessing that's got to be a Choice Specs Draco Meteor, I really feel like. But it's not enough to deal with the Cryogonal. He's in a bad spot. Now, especially with how low this Iron Treads is, the Bellibolt's just going to clean up. So we're just going to throw this on fast while we watch here. and I said this while we were watching the battle live, Chris is making mistakes that we all made in our first season. Mike's progressed pretty good. I mean, Mike was also making very similar mistakes in his first season. It's tough to come into season 18 of something when you don't have any experience in it, but I commend him for doing so, and he got a win in his first season, which is more than we can say for, like, Tyler. I think I think he got a win in his second season. I think he played like 15 straight games before he got a win. So, you know, that'll just happen sometimes. So you've already got a win, so take that. And it seems like you're learning, which is great, but good matchup for Mike here. Good matchup for Bellybolt, really showing it off really well in this one. Moving on to our third match of the week. See, I debated making this our marquee match of the week just because, I mean, you've got two relatively recent former champions who are both doing pretty well this season. We have an MVP candidate over here in Iron Maw. So let's hop into this one. Iron Jugulus versus Ditto Lead. I just gushed about Ditto over in the East if you want to hear all about that. Iron Jugulus, I feel like I've underestimated its strength by a fair margin, as long as it hits hurricanes is the thing. That's the big problem with it. Now he knows what it's locked into, easy switch here. Going for the Will-O-Wisp, it's potentially catching the Great Tusk if he goes into that. Discharge, gonna be chunking this away. I like the rest on this. Also, I want some people to weigh in, because Darren asked me about a rule clarification, and I guess this is as good a time as any to talk about it. Now, there was some debate as to which tier we would be playing these games in. So the problem with Ubers, which is admittedly a small problem, is that Baton Pass is banned, which I think was an oversight. But the benefit to it is it has Sleep Clause built in. And then Anything Goes doesn't have Sleep Clause, but it allows Baton Pass. So there's the small issue there, because we like Sleep Clause to be there, but also allow Baton Pass. I don't think there's a tier that does that. I digress. Heading over to this. Darren asked me, what if I run Sleep Talk, Rest, Yawn, Liquidation on Dondozo? Would he be disqualified if something was already asleep and then he went for Yawn? I think yes. Thankfully, he's playing an Uber, so it doesn't matter. It would kind of protect him from that. He doesn't even have Yawn in this, but I would like to see what people think the rules should be there. So let's head back into this. But I mean, this is a good position for Rotom here. I also like the Full House nicknames here. Zach, I'm just gonna say I recognize it. That's fun. He ends up getting the Great Tuscan, pivots immediately to Iron Moth because he doesn't want to take a water move, and then he goes into a water weak Pokemon. And then turns it from a ground weak Pokemon into a ground weak Pokemon. I don't really get the go to electric. Maybe he can explain a little bit about that. But now we're just going to see more of that Dondozo stuff. Oh, we get a double switch into Dragonite. Obviously not good because he doesn't want to get burned. But manages to dodge the Will-O-Wisp anyways. Bellator is going to come in. Best fairy type in the league, taking on another fairy type. Another slack off here. This is honestly pretty safe for Zach. I think he could have theoretically stayed in here. Maybe you don't want to eat a Rest Talk Liquidation, but only a 30% chance of getting it. I think you'll probably take it on okay. Ice Fang misses there. If that was a Yawn, maybe that's beneficial for him, but I think it just leads to a Volt Switch. Oh boy, sorry, just a lot of rambling in this, because I have a lot of stuff's happening fast, and it's not like groundwork is being laid, really. I guess the biggest groundwork that's being laid, which I guess we'll talk about, is this Indeedee in the back. Because the fastest thing, I'm guessing this is Scarf Gardevoir. That's now weakened to the point where Psychic type moves are very good against this team. Even Ditto's weakened, which is something that you need to have happen, and Ditto's even more weakened here when it's killed. So you're in a good position for a potential Indeedee to kind of clean up here. Earth Power takes out this Iron Moth. I'm curious there, because he got to see the Iron Jugulus come in. What the game plan there was. So does this go Dragonite here? He does go Dragonite here. Predicting that. That's good. Outrage. Ooh, boy, a lot of damage. I kind of would have liked... I was going to say I would have liked to see him DD there and then go for Outrage, but that feels like Bandit Outrage. That's so much damage. Gonna get confused here, obviously. And then the Indeedee is going to come in. Indeedee is naturally faster than Dragonite. Also stops a potential extreme speed from happening later. But this is what I was talking about. He's kind of set up the... he set up the opportunity to just start clicking Psychic. This would have been the day... Back in the day, it would have been Expanding Force. And that would have clean KO'd the Dondozo. Because this is Choice Spec Psychic. It's faster than everything remaining. And he's even going to Terrasilize Psychic just to get a little bit more damage. Yeah, and then the Choice Scarf Gardevoir comes out, manages to knock off the Choice Specs. Guess he wishes he would have done that sooner. But yeah, easy cleanup here for Indeedee. Well played by Zach. Moves him, keeps him undefeated for the season. Drops Darren down another game. Darren also at 2-2. A lot of people over here in the West at 2-2, which we'll check in on a little bit. But now we can get to our marquee match of the week.
Marquee match of the week. Now we have a theme.
Okay, this has been a long recording session, so let's round this out with our ABL West marquee match of the week. We've got a Sun team taking on Drew here, sorry. Still looking for his first ABL win. We're all rooting for him at this point, I think. I think even Mitch is rooting for him. Deep down, he doesn't want to win this. But let's hop into this game. Got the Torkoal lead against Gengar. Pretty good start for Darren here. Firing off a Sludge Bomb and gets the Poison. That's an awesome start. Anything to keep Umbreon a little bit low, make it expend more of its wishes, grab a couple of turns. That's nice. Hard into Iron Hands. I like this here. I kind of wish he was a little bit more aggressive because we see him go for a Drain Punch. A close combat would have been great because it also would have, I think, 2-hit KO'd the Quagsire. Correct me if I'm wrong. Firing off a Wish on the Quagsire, which is fun because it's going to allow the Gengar to live this hit. And I think he switches out here. Good call. I don't want him to get greedy. There's a light screen up, you gotta... You don't want to... Like, the Hex is enticing there, but it's not going to KO when you're going to lose your Gengar. Don't want that to happen. Scovillain comes in. Just right around the time Sun ends. He's going to go for the substitute here, right? Yeah. This is kind of a weird play, because I get why he hard switched out into Gengar. I don't get why he'd Growth in front of that, because you're slower than stuff. If the sub breaks, you're going to get Revenge Killed. But hey, works out for him. Able to live the Sludge Bomb because of the substitute and get the KO with Giga Drain. And then he's going to go Fairy type here. Unfortunately, not going to pick up the KO on Iron Hands. Unfortunate because he's still going to die to the Drain Punch from this Iron Hand. I see leftovers here. If this was like, if this had been not Expert Belt, but like Black Belt or Choice Band or even Life Orb. I'm against Life Orb, but and then that had been a close combat. Or actually, even then, the Life Orb Drain Punch probably would have 2-hit KO'd the Quagsire, put him in a better spot. Just something to think about. Yeah, so Torkoal's going to come back in, set up that Sun again, and eat an Earthquake here. Is going to be able to pick up the KO on Iron Hands. I don't think that crit mattered. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Slitherwing's going to come out. Oh, Drew makes another good play here. Okay, we see the Psychic there. That's good. And then he's going to turn into a Fairy type so that we can resist this. Good play. I really like it. Unfortunately, another Psychic on the Umbreon gets blocked here. He does... could fast forward to it, but we'll get there. Thunder Wave here. By the way, I do go through because a lot of paralyses on Drew's side of the field here. There's one. I counted up specifically on Slowking, just because I feel like it becomes a little bit more prevalent. How many paralyses there are. I think he attacked 26 times and was paralyzed 11. Because he's about to get paralyzed. Oh no, he's not going to get paralyzed here. He gets paralyzed soon. I would say he did get unlucky with how many times he got paralyzed, for sure. But it's not like so far below average, but it is rough. So I think if he clicked Iron Head here, that Umbreon probably dies. So that's very unfortunate. But then the Torkoal doesn't catch that witch, so who knows how it goes. But at this point, anyways, getting back to the crux of the match here. Drew's in a bad spot. I might have said Darren again earlier, so I'm sorry. Drew's in a bad spot, and there is he doesn't have a reliable way to KO this Slowking. He just has to eventually wear it down, and hope it gets paralyzed a lot too to KO. We're gonna hyper fast this, guys, until some interesting stuff happens. Because you see the Golden Go come in, it's gonna get the KO with Shadow Ball there. That's good. That's probably what he should be doing more often. Mitch has been able to pretty reliably pass wishes. I think he should be firing off as many Shadow Balls as he can, especially now that the King Gambit is down. His goal should be pass a wish and oh, okay. So, something I wanted to mention that I think Drew is doing pretty smartly here. He's kind of alternating Surfs and Psychics a little bit irregularly here. Mainly just, especially when a wish is in the air, just so that way he can't afford to pass to anything. He wants to catch that Golden Go with a Surf, or catch the Torkoal with Surf, so that way it can't catch that wish. So he does end up Psychicking a lot into this Dark-type Umbreon, but I think that is probably better for him in the long run, because you're hopefully forcing stuff to not catch wishes. He's in a bad spot here, so it's kind of like, rearranging, what do they call it? Rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. It's probably a good idea, but it's just not helpful right now. He's too far in the back. I don't know what his last move was. I don't think we ever see it. But yeah, Mitch says, I don't have a good way of killing the Slowking, so that's why he's taking so long, just to kind of slowly wear it down. Don't know what the Focus Blast is about there. Shadow Ball is going to do more damage to both of these things, and it's more reliable. So, there's that. But I'm just going to spoil this. Mitch comes away with a win. This has got to be a very frustrating loss for Drew, because I don't think he played bad. I think he had bad luck. I think just a couple more tweaks, and he's right there on the cusp of it. Really rooting for Drew to get a win before the end of the season. I think he does get one more in this game, if I'm not totally mistaken. Yeah, right there, the Torkoal goes down. And the other good thing is he finally got off those hazards, so the Torkoal was going to go down regardless. Couldn't even get Sun back up. Can't catch a wish either. So that's good. Now these Toxic Spikes are up, which I guess would only really affect this Slitherwing if it ever came back in. Oh, and then he also gets the Umbreon. See, persistence pays off. Unfortunately, that wish was able to come through. Last para there, unnecessary, didn't really, benefit him, you know what I mean? Because the Fortress wasn't going to be able to KO this Golden Go. Maybe it had Volt Switch, or Bug Bite, or Body Press, but only one of those things is doing damage, and it's negligible amount. But yeah, Mitch comes away with the win here. Let's head back over to the Google Sheet, and we'll look at the MVP tab. So Indeedee, with 4 KOs this week, comes away with our weekly MVP. Good for Indeedee. Iron Moth still atop the list at 11. Flora just got 3 KOs this week, so it's sneaking up that list a little bit more. Goldengo got a couple, so it's coming up. Slitherwing, I don't think it got a KO this week, but it's had such an impressive last few weeks. There's Season Kill Leaders. Still no KOs for Life Orb over here in the West, which is something I proudly say. Season Death Leaders. We do have quite a few more Pokemon who are sharing this than over in the West. But, that'll happen. That's all for the MVPs. Let's take a look at the schedule for next week. Oh, I don't have those nice double lines that I had on the other one, but don't worry about it. You guys remember that the trade deadline is here, so get some trades together. Next Monday, I'm going to be like, hey, final week for trades. And then hopefully you guys come to me with trades. Week after that, I'm going to say, hey, final week for transactions. And they'll come with transactions. So, looking forward. We've got Zach taking on Chris. That's a tough matchup. Good luck. We've got Washington. We got Darren. See, I should have gone to the standings first to see how many of these matter. Okay, Mitch, 3-1 on the season. Great for him. It's a good position to be in. Only 1 game behind Zach here, and they're still yet to face, so that could shake things up whenever they do face each other. Bunch of people at 2-2. Okay, let's see if I can make some sense of this tiebreaker-wise. I've got a tiebreaker over Mike. These are both lower tiebreakers. Dakota's got a tiebreaker over me, so he would be higher, and then Darren's got a tiebreaker over Dakota. So technically, I think if the season were to end today, it would be Darren on top. Nobody has a tiebreaker over him in the bunch. It'd be Darren, and then Dakota, me, and then Mike. Obviously, there's still plenty of games to be played, so that'll end up sorting out. So it'll end up just being win percentage. Then Peru, which isn't on here because I think strength of schedule is technically going to be all the same. But also winning strength of schedule. We do have that, and that will be slightly different. So at that point in time, once winning strength of schedule rolls around, Darren also has an edge there because he managed to beat Mitch, who's 3-1 right now. So that's good for him. Okay. So let's go back to this and see how many of these matter. Me versus Mitch. That's a big one, particularly for me. It'll put me and Mitch on the same level, and I could have a tiebreaker if I win. If I lose, it's looking bad for the rest of my season. Got Salem versus London. Again, maybe I need to hydrate more. Saline's still flowing through my veins. Maybe I'd love Drew to win that one. Washington versus Detroit. Pretty important one because they're both at 2-2. That could be a very important tiebreaker going into the end of the season. They're right there next to each other. And then we just looked at this one. Whoops. Wrong click. This game doesn't matter too much for Zach other than the fact that he doesn't want to put people within striking distance to pass him in terms of wins. Because I don't think that tiebreaker will be particularly important, but he does want to try to lock up that number 1 overall seed, which if he manages to win here and I manage to beat, and if I end up beating Mitch, then that'll put him in a better position in terms of words. He'll have better words. It'll put him 2 games ahead, which will ease the burden quite a bit. Roster changes. We do have some of those. So Dakota used 3 of his transactions. He dropped, let's see if I can remember these, they're over here. He dropped Magnezone, picked up Slowbro, so that way he still had an electric type. He dropped Quillfish and picked up Magneton, and then he dropped Komala and picked up Slacken. I get Slowbro because, much better defensive water type than Quillfish was, also Regenerator, that whole gag. The Magneton seems like kind of it's like a downgrade in terms of how strong it is and how all that stuff, but it's like a lateral move in terms of it's the same Pokemon, it does most of the same things, so there's that. So that makes sense. I don't get why you just drop Komala to get Slacking. Komala brings utility. Slacking just brings power. Maybe he's just concerned about raw power on this team. Or maybe this is trying to fight ghosts of his past, because he got 6-0, or he didn't get 6-0'd in the match, but Slacking got 6 KOs against him once many moons ago, and maybe this is retribution? I don't know. I don't really see many scenarios in which this comes to battles, personally. But Chris also made some changes, his first of the season. So he's dropping Brute Bonnet, which we also saw happen over in the East. Brute Bonnet got dropped. Picked up Jolteon. Now, I've been lower on Jolteon the past few seasons, just because ever since it lost Hidden Power Ice and Signal Beam, doesn't have a way to hit grass types and stuff like that. But, we'll see how it looks going forward. And then he also dropped Luxray, because he didn't need that electric type anymore, and picked up Oricorio OP. Oricorios have been pretty popular this season. I think all of them are owned over here in the West, so that's pretty interesting as well. We'll see how that works out for him. But that's going to end it for me this week. Thanks to D24 Designs for the logos. Thanks to Brett for doing the sheet. We didn't play the Life Orb jingle, but thanks for Logan for composing music for us whenever we need it. And thank you all for doing a great season. And I'll see you next week. Goodbye.